And we're live.
Hi.
Hi. Annie's doing her live dance that she normally does. She gets all excited.
Yeah. Well, so I'm doing a dance because my daughter's asleep outside my office. It's 10 a.m. where I am, and I found out that we were going to do this live at 9:56 a.m.
Pretty
And
close.
I'm going to go with you're probably the only one on the planet that could ask me to do that I would say yes to. So,
Probably.
yeah.
Probably. I would
That's
assume. I would
that's
definitely
where
assume.
we
Yeah,
that's where we are.
pretty much. So I wanted to have this live because there's a few topics I wanted to touch on, and I figured Annie was the best person to go live with about. Um, First, I want to talk about burnout, or maybe I should give the backstory about it first.
Sure.
Okay, so in January, I had a major flare up with my thyroid. I have Hashimoto's, which is hypothyroidism, but also an autoimmune that your immune system attacks your thyroid, kills it, and turns into either a benign tumor or a malignant tumor. Um, and there's many different side effects. There's many different things that it affects because your thyroid, even for being this little stupid gland in your body, affects almost every organ in your body. So I had this flare up because of stress, eating wrong, not sleeping enough, and who knows? I'm sure there's other issues there too. Um, During this period of time in January, I got a test done, and I got the results to the test and did nothing about it. I mean, that's not really nothing. I mean, I did send it to my doctor's assistant, but that's like doing nothing because if you don't follow up and make sure the doctor sees it, then they never see it. So okay, so I took the test February 3rd. I got the results March 3rd because that's just how the world works during COVID, during snowstorms, during everything else that happens in Arkansas that's not meant to happen here. And so I got my results March 3rd. And at that time, it was right before my court date. I was in a very overwhelmed space to begin with. And yes, my thyroid was probably playing some type of role in that. But it wasn't my current focus. After the day of the court date, I had an enormous meltdown, completely broke down. But when I woke up on the 10th, it was like I was a completely different person. I fully stepped into myself. I fully stepped into everything that I am. I fully stepped into my soul centered place and embracing everything about me. And from that point forward, I've been on this spiritual high, I want to call it. Hey, Kenny. Um, so I've been on this spiritual high. And during this spiritual high, I kind of ignored or forgot about or pushed aside self care and didn't follow up with my doctor, didn't follow up with anything, and then got really immersed in getting busy and being active and getting to work and getting stuff done and embracing my role of being here and not letting it hold me back anymore. While I've been doing very good with that, at the same time, I forgot about my self care and health. Um, and it wasn't until last week when it became apparent that something was off with me. Because whether I slept 8 hours, whether I slept 3 hours, whether I slept 10 hours, it didn't matter. I could not stay awake. I'm exhausted. I'm drained. I'm burnt out. During my 7:30 shows, well, 7:30 Central, 7 o'clock Central, I've been just dead, like quiet and exhausted and zero energy, and it's not who I am. Um, and I really started thinking about it, and then I realized I never did anything with that test. I do have the doctor coming up this week, and I'm going to address that and get another test done. I've already ordered new tests, but I wanted to go into how self-care is that important, and it's something that is so easy to overlook. It's something that is that easy to forget, push to the side, especially when busy and when occupied, taking care of 3 kids, middle of nowhere, running around, switching schools, spring break, 10 days home, all these fun things. It's great, right? But where's the self care and where are you taking care of yourself? And for me, it went out the window.
So I think there's a thread here that we're missing. There's no balance with what you're doing. So it's all extremely excessive in every single compartment that it's in. Understandable, because I'm with you and I get it. And I have been the queen of that in the past, so I understand. However, it's not that you completely forgot about self-care. It's that you got immersed in everything else and there was no balance. So that's why we talk about having a daily practice.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle. So when we have a daily practice that includes self-care, that stuff doesn't fall by the wayside. I also think there was some avoidance because it fell to the bottom of your list of things that are important to you. And what the root of that is self-worth. So when we truly have our self-worth intact, then we have our self-care intact, and then we have our balance. So it's one after the other, after the other. And it all is rooted in how much we know that we're worth. Hi, Rob. Because it's like so many of us say, we don't have time. There's no time for that. We can't do that. It doesn't fit in. I have too much going on. Hi, Jeff. And the truth of the matter is there's always time for self-care when you have balance in your life. And if you are worthy, if you know you're worthy of feeling good and doing good and getting all this other stuff done that you have to get done, then you'll know that it starts with self-care.
See, and what's funny about that is, right, in January when the flare-up happened, I also started Melaleuca vitamins and I started doing all these different things. But I also forgot that some of the ailments or some of the things that are bothering me right now are serious side effects and symptoms of having Hashimoto's. The muscle weakness, the strain, the fatigue, complete
and
muscle.
Like people that don't know you, like you don't get tired. Like you'll sleep 3 hours and you'll have a great day. You'll sleep 7. I've never seen you sleep 7 hours, but like you'll sleep. You're never like, I'm tired ever. And lately you've been like every day you say it.
Yeah, it's to the point where if I'm sitting down, I'm falling asleep. Like that's about it. Like I can't.
It's completely different than how you've been in the past.
And that's why, from February and March, as February went on, by the end of February, I kind of cut out my physical exercise because my muscles hurt so bad and all that other stuff hurt so bad that I kind of pushed it to the side and said, okay, well, I started the vitamins, so that's going to fix some of this, right? And it was all these Band-Aids that I was putting on to cover up what was really there. And that's not the answer, right? Like, so I still do my daily routine. I just left out the exercise. I figured, okay, I'm good with that, right? Like I can get through the day and still meditating, still writing, still journaling, still gratitude, still all those things. But I forgot that, my body won't work if I don't pay attention to it. And
you forgot to tell me this part too.
Yeah.
There's the minor omitting of the fact that you were not doing any physical exercise, to which I would have responded, that's not going to work for you.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I didn't tell anybody. I just figured actually after a period of time, it was just, okay, this is my new norm. Right. And now that I'm looking at this thyroid flare up, it's probably even worse than I think it is. Just because of how drastic the side effects are now. Like random narcolepsy isn't part of who I am basically. And it's pretty much at that point now. Thank God I'm not in the car 5 hours a day anymore. Now it's literally 23 minutes round trip twice a day.
It just goes to show you, Mike, how things snowball. So when they start off small and we don't pay attention, hey, Jenny, when we don't pay attention to those small things, they start to snowball. And then all of a sudden now you're at a point where it's sort of out of control and you have to take action. Because
I mean, if I didn't have a doctor's appointment Wednesday, then I would probably be screaming from the rooftops or even finding a local vet because, we have more vets than doctors out here because of the sheeps and asses and donkeys when I say asses.
The point of the matter is, at least you are being an advocate for yourself now. I mean, so let's not beat ourselves up too much. You're recognizing it. And I think this means
I don't beat myself up. So I
don't. No, neither do I. I'm like, what is that? But I think that, what's important is that you're recognizing it now and it's not quote unquote too late. It's pretty good morning. It's pretty far along. And you know, I think you get into avoidance mode a lot, and a lot of us do, but there was a lot of avoidance there.
Oh, there's a ton of avoidance. If I don't have to deal with it, I'm not going to. Part of it was, okay, well, March 9th, I'm going to be out of here so I can go to my doctor, physically see my doctor, physically take care of this. I mean, I even had a doctor's appointment set up, right? Like, I mean, all these things were set up. Blood work was set up, all these things to take care of and self-care and keep it in track. But when the court date didn't go as planned, and then I woke up that next day ready to go, like, you know, balls to the wall, just go nuts and just let's embrace everything. Yeah, the self-care thing, health-wise, just fell way by the wayside.
But that what lesson is that? What's the lesson there?
When you have cloudy thyroid brain, take notes.
That, and you completely like got laughed at that you made those plans. Like you need to, self-care needs to be daily. It's a practice. It can't be, I'm going to do whatever I want until this date, and then I'll go and do everything I have to do. And I'm not reprimanding you because I understand completely and I empathize, but we have to be on top of that because no one else is going to self-care for us.
Oh, that's not how it works. I can't just I can't. Well, you know what? It's funny, right? Like I hired the cleaning person last week, right? And I started thinking about this last week when the person was here, and I'm like, I don't have the energy to clean. And it kind of just went like in the back of my mind, like, wait, I always clean. Like I didn't really talk about it out loud or to anyone, but it was like
I heard you the past couple of weeks talk about being tired, and it was starting to become something in my mind where I was like, what is wrong? Like he's never been like this in all this time I've known him. So it was definitely out of the ordinary, but I just thought you were really, really run down from everything that had been going on. And then, you know, there was always an excuse, the same excuses you made, like the kids are home for 10 days.
Right.
You know, there's this court date, there's that coming up, there's always something. But if we stay consistent, if we stay balanced, then it doesn't matter what comes up, right?
It's just, I find it so ironic how my acute awareness, because I am extremely self-aware, like ridiculously self-aware, but how I decided to bury this from myself.
Well,
like,
you totally made a choice.
Yeah, I totally chose.
It was a conscious choice to bury it.
I totally did, and
many of us do that.
Yeah, and burnout's real, right? Like, honestly, if I was myself and physically where I need to be mentally and physically taking care of myself and all the routine, getting my blood work right, getting my thyroid numbers back under control, 2 weeks ago wouldn't have affected me, right? Like having those 11 lives in a week, having the kids home for 10 days.
You would have just rolled with it.
Right. It would have never impacted me the way it did. And there's never a chance that I am so tired on a 7 o'clock live that I'm ready to fall over. Like it's crazy. Like I just ignored every single warning sign because I didn't want to think about it.
Well, and you live and learn, right? I mean, you're dealing with the consequences now, unfortunately. No one else has to deal with them but you. So
I'm telling you, I might have to move all my lives to 5 a.m. when I have all my energy.
I know, I'm right there with you. That's me too. I'm up and at 'em. You know that. Like I'm raring to go. People have been asking me lately if I sleep. I do sleep. I just have a lot of energy in the morning. And you know, what I talked about in my post yesterday was partly what I do in the morning to feel that content and happy and excited for the day. And also, like, you know, work lately has been really amazing, and leaning into that has gotten me really psyched for life. But that aside, I think that the main theme here that we have to go back to is not only self-care, but that it's a daily practice. And that's verbiage that I constantly use, daily practice. He's so amazing.
I haven't spoken to him yet. I've connected with him. I haven't spoken to him yet.
Amazing. Amazing. He's just an incredible man and the most supportive and like understanding and empathetic person.
Oh, then we got to talk. Schedule time, man. I'm not going to mispronounce your name, so I'm not going to try.
I believe it's by year, but I could be saying it wrong. I know.
You can get away with saying names wrong. I can't.
I didn't know that.
All
right, what else are we going to talk about? Since you got me here.
Now you're rearing and hey, Brian.
I'm ready. Evie's asleep outside my room. She's going to kill me, but she's sleeping. She's not sleeping. Her eyes are open.
Oh, you're in deep shit now.
She's like, Mommy, what are you doing? Good morning.
She'll get you back at 11 p.m. with Roblox.
I know, it's so cool. When tomorrow's school in the morning.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're gonna have a blast tonight.
Tonight'll be fun.
Yeah. Back into that routine after a week off.
So this morning was revelatory.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a big morning.
Talk about it. So go.
Well, I don't know what to say, but I was thinking about, I don't know if anyone saw my post, but it was an extremely cathartic post for me. I woke up feeling sort of really soul-centered and really just in my sweet spot. And I started thinking about, I started looking at pictures. I have one baby book of pictures. And I started looking at them and I saw this one picture, the one that I posted, and I'm like, this is the weird part. And I told you this morning. What?
Kenny, he said spell it.
Revelatory?
Yeah.
I can spell it.
It's the one person probably could.
Revelatory. Revelatory. So boom. I don't think he has Epstein-Barr. But thank you, Jenny. Dr. Annie says I don't think so.
No, my numbers were way off the charts in February. Like my TPO was
you don't have Epstein-Barr.
It was over 400, which is really, really high for a TPO because it's supposed to be under 60. And I would assume that the last 2 months of avoidance has probably made it much higher. So go ahead. You were talking about your pictures. I'm sorry. The Kenny spell it thing just made me laugh.
Yeah, that's fine. Interrupt my catharsis. It's totally fine.
Seriously. Always.
So I started to look at this picture of me as a child, a baby. I was just standing. I think I was maybe 1.5. And I could see through my eyes. It was Michael.
It was Michael?
No, but you're not paying attention. I need you to pay attention to me while I'm having this conversation with you.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I feel like I know this story.
Okay, well then you tell it.
It's not my story to tell.
Okay, well I'm
apologize. I apologize. You are correct. I was
no shit.
Wow.
So I felt like I could see through my own eyes. Instead of looking at the picture, I could see through my eyes for the first time in my entire life. It was really, really cool. But it was also kind of painful because I was seeing, that time around me was a painful time. And I felt like my mask dropped a little bit, that like sort of mask that a lot of us wear. It's been dropping and almost falling off recently of me. Yeah. So, that's my story. It was pretty crazy.
It's funny, right? We always talk about this healing journey that we've been on and that we spend so much time in doing the work. And every time we talk about how much we've done, it's like the universe says, oh, here's another thing to do. So just get back on that horse, right? It's like, but yeah, like it's been so present to us as we go through our continuous healing journeys. And I'm going through past memories and past stuff like that on a very deep level. And it's ridiculously difficult. Like
it is so painful. It was like strangling me this morning, but at the same time, I felt I needed to share it. Like I had to share it to move through it.
But it also is draining because now this is another part of this whole not self-care thing that I've been lacking is I haven't been giving myself breaks in between. I haven't been taking a step back. I've underestimated how long the processing is for these healing things that I'm doing and the emotional drain that it's taking on me. And it's really also wearing me the hell out too. So if you compile that on top of what I'm already dealing with, which I'm sure you can correct compile because I'm sure that's the wrong word, you're itching. You're itching. So go.
I'm actually not.
But if you add it all together, it's very overwhelming. And it's a lot. It really is a lot. It's almost strangling at times. And I was not giving myself breaks in between. I wasn't giving myself time time blocks, time gaps. I wasn't really allowing myself to heal, right? Like I was doing the healing work, which is great, but then I wasn't.
But you're working against yourself when you're doing the work and you're not self-caring and having a self-care practice and taking care of yourself. Oftentimes you're working against yourself. You're like, it's like this.
I'm assuming that's either Future or Charisse, because those are the two LinkedIn users that periodically come on here that I adore. It's one of those two.
I don't know. I get some visitors too. I know it's your channel.
But sending love does both. It's probably one of those two.
Well, let's see. Maybe they'll write back in and say who it is. I hate when it says LinkedIn user and I don't know who it is. I feel so like.
It's the settings. It's all about the third-party settings and not allowing it to read your name and all that fun crap. Yeah, I mean, it really is though. It's really working against myself, and it's really self-sabotaging. You know, not giving myself those time breaks, those time blocks, and that's difficult at times. Like you have trouble with that at times too, like not giving yourself those breathers. And I make excuses because it's really easy to do that, right? But the reality is I wasn't making it a priority, which I then just went ahead for the next 2 weeks and made it a priority and started blocking out time in my days. Because
but do you see how do you see how it all is rooted in self-worth?
Yes.
Oh, Future.
Future. Told you it was one of the two.
So
it's really early for Charisse on Easter morning with 5 children. So
it's not being lazy, and it's not consciously being like, screw this, I'm going to avoid it. It's actually just a deep rooted worth issue that you're not putting your worth first.
Yes. Yes. Which is still better than my previous state, but still, I'm not there yet.
No, my God. I mean, do not beat yourself up about it. Like that give yourself some grace and some self-compassion about this. Seriously. Like you've come a long way.
I'm really good at that, by the way.
I know, me too. That's like my strong suit. I always let myself right off the hook. I'm so good at that. I'm with you, but like I'm telling you, I'm not even asking you, I'm telling you.
I do not, that does not define me at all.
I'm telling you to give yourself some grace with this. That because I'll tell you why. Because beating yourself up about it is useless. It does nothing. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to make you change next time. What's going to make you change is working on your worth.
Yeah. And I believe that working through these trauma scenarios throughout the course of my life is part of getting my worth, right? And understanding my worth.
Absolutely.
And creating the worth, right? And it's not like I'm dealing with surface issues here. These aren't surface issues. These are extremely, extremely deep rooted, most pain point possible, because anybody who's paid attention to Mike over the last year is going to really walk in head first to whatever the hardest things possibly are. And that's really what I'm doing. And not giving myself a break in between, because, why do I need that? I'm Mike. So I can pull this off. And
well, sure. And it's getting ahead of yourself and remembering to slow down and take a beat and breathe and remember that, we're not superhuman, even though we sometimes feel it. And we have to take a step back and put those breaks in, care for ourselves. No one else is going to self-care for you, like I said. And
how about I am super, but I'm still just human? I like that answer better.
I think you're sometimes superhuman, but that's just me.
Yeah. The self-care routine is tough. And it's worse when I'm starting to give myself excuses. Like, I was so gung-ho with the exercise thing, and I was doing so great with it.
You were so great with that too.
You loved it. And I really did love it. And
you felt so good.
It was, okay, well, maybe my body just needs a rest, because, again, I went overboard with that, where it was literally like 130 straight days. So from never exercising in 42 years.
So there's a little bit of excess going on.
No. But if you do a 10-year balance, it all equals out.
Right.
Because I spent 6 years doing nothing.
Yeah. Again, we're works in progress.
Pretty sure that's not how it works.
Right. Good morning, Rhonda. Seen you in so long.
She's been working. Yes, 100%. Yes, we do have a way of learning and learning from each other and learning at the same time. And
That's why we do this. I mean,
we love doing it on live. It's just more entertaining.
Who else would I jump on a live with 5 minutes before we were supposed to when I just rolled out of bed?
The second time, by the way.
Right. I fell back asleep.
Yeah. There's lots of stories.
The narrative is untrue.
Annie knows me well enough to know that I have never created a narrative ever. She's gonna spit her coffee all over the room.
Exactly. Yeah, he never does that. Yeah, me too. I mean, listen, the first thing that you have to do with all of this is recognize it, and you're recognizing it and stopping and saying, yes, it is self-sabotage, and that is a self-worth issue.
Okay, so real quick, just to fill Rhonda in, no, the exercising was not self-sabotage. That was an avoidance because it was a real issue why I couldn't, but I avoided why I couldn't and just tried to put
underneath it was self-sabotage because you avoided it, chose not to do it. You knew that you were doing so well with it. You knew vitamins weren't a replacement for it. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. No wonder you didn't say it to me.
No, I thought the vitamins were going to fix the weakness and the tiredness and the true muscle fatigue. That's what I thought the vitamins were going to fix.
Mm-hmm. And then you'd go back to the exercise.
Yes, that was the plan. And then I tried the exercise a few days.
What we're going to do next time,
I almost fell over.
What we're going to do next time is go live on my channel so I can control the comments because clearly you have trouble reading them and paying attention to what we're talking about.
100%. I am horrible at it.
Today that's not your strong suit. And I'm a big Mike fan, but that's not your strong suit today. You're very easily distracted. Take your meds.
I need more of them. My the lack of focus that I have is killing me because it's not me. It's just not me. And it's crushing.
All right. It's not crushing you. It's just wearing on you.
There you go. Wearing. I'm ready for a nap again. And I've been up for an hour for my last nap.
We'll get there. Gotta figure out doing a one-on-one. Just sounds good. Work. So call me. Set it up on my calendar. Whatever's available that's not blocked out, because it's all blocked out now. Lots of time blocked out. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to share this because I think that this is so relatable to so many people, and coming out of the COVID, truly trapped feeling, it's going to make a lot of people run out of that gate and just bury themselves in over everything. The first time you can go out, you're going to run and go out 22 days in a row. The first time you can, try and go back to, same ways in your old life, you're going to go out to those things and the, old habits, old routines, old patterns, and it's just not the same world anymore. And you're not the same person anymore. So breathe.
I try.
Everybody needs to take a step back and breathe before we just jump into this balls to the wall. I'm gonna go because I need to make breakfast for the kids.
I'm cutting it off anyway.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a nice talk. I'm glad we got to chat about it.
Thank you. I'm glad that you were able to join me. I just want to hit the last few comments. Wherever like that, wherever struggling.
Rhonda made a good point too.
I know, but
Michelle, thank you for the empathy.
Thank you. And then Anna. Hey Anna. Actually, I have both of you guys on the 14th on my show.
We'll see. I mean, I've heard your story before.
It's already scheduled on the calendar. I made sure I blocked it out for
okay.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right,
that's
good.
Annie's first time on my official show. Anyway, moving right along. Everybody have an amazing day. Have a happy Easter if you're celebrating. Then just have a great day.
Peace.
Bye, world. You got to stay there for a while while it tries to end with